Okay, guys. Another thing I wanted to introduce you to, because I just showed you my nursery, is the things you'll need to start a nursery. You need pots, but the soil is very important for those who are going to be growing using soil. Hydroponics we'll go through later. Now, me personally, I prefer to make my own soil. A lot of companies use their own fertilizers and stuff in the type of plant soils that you buy now, and therefore you might be actually putting things into your environment that you don't know or want because you're not sure of the ingredients and how it affects the pH level that will go to your other plants. Not every plant requires the same pH level. You try to keep your plants balanced where one plant that lives with the other lives off the same pH level, but other than that, you do not want to compromise the soil before knowing if that plant can thrive in it. So you want to make a basic mix first without introducing the fertilizer in. Some people introduce the fertilizer in first. I prefer to wait until the seedling at least cracks open and finally is hungry. When it like a baby coming out is going to be hungry, then I'll introduce what it needs, making sure the soil is right. But each individual plant will have its own fertilizer base depending on the type of plant. So the basics of your soil mix, and this is soil that I mixed up last night, as you see. It's going to be rocky, all right? Because topsoil is very heavy. It's this stuff. Topsoil is very, very heavy. Now, the one that I've bought seems to already have certain things in it. All right, let me show you. It's already have peat forest products, so that's peat moss and forest moss, compost, ash, sand, are native to topsoil. You don't see any manure. All right? Do not use manure unless you know that the nitrogen levels are going to be fine. Because manure extremely will burn out the hell out your roots. Now this has a mild compost, all right? But it doesn't have a fertilizer. Got it? Fertilizer is something you will be doing on your own if you're doing it this way. Compost is when you take a bunch of things that have died and use microorganisms or worms or whatever process they use, and it refines the dead stuff back into the soil. That's all compost is doing, okay? It is not fertilizer, it's not manure, there's a difference. Now, with regular topsoil, you want to mix it with peat moss yourself, because a lot of this comes heavy. Peat moss is an organic substance. They actually find this in nature, and they have, I guess, a quarry for it that they dig out. But you see how light and it's nice and moist. If it's not moist it in a boil barrel overnight and let it get moist, because it will not receive water if it's not moist while you're doing your mixture. So you want to fill it and fill the moisture. When you're not using it, keep it covered, keep it air sealed so it can retain its moisture. But you want to mix enough peat moss that you feel keeps your mix light and aerated. Another, and this is very popular, you'll see this, people might not know exactly what this is. This is called perlite. All right? And as you see, I use brands that are like non-Miracle Grow and stuff like that. I totally will not fund their anything. But perlite looks like styrofoam. Do not breathe in the dust, please, because even though it is a natural substance from Earth, it's called volcanic glass. It does have a content of its own natural fluoride. This fluoride is not good to breathe in, just to let you know. But fluoride is water soluble, so you're only using a little bit of perlite. Like, I've used that much perlite, alright, to do all those pots and everything in my soil mix, and I still got the whole thing of soil. So that you don't need a lot of perlite. Perlite is to give air to your soil. It is, as you see, like porous and light. Vermiculite is something I chosen because it's another natural substance that occurs in nature. But the cool thing about vermiculite, instead of letting the water roll off it, this actually absorbs water. So if you need water retention because you know that sometimes your ground gets a little dry too fast, and you know certain plants need more water, certain plants don't because it'll rot it out, you can add a little vermiculite to the original mix and add some more to it for certain plants that need more moisture. This I recommend if you need more moisture. Okay? Now, we'll go into fertilizer and seed and everything next time. After you mix it up, I did this in a wheelbarrow. As I said, it's clumpy, and it's, you know, if you're getting soil from local places, you're going to end up with rocks all in it. So, I advise you to get a screen and sift. And when you sift, where'd it go? Right here. Your soil is going to be like sifted flour. Beautiful. Light, airy, moisture retention. The roots will have plenty to go through without being compromised. Alright? Make sure that any soil that you leave out, you cover, so other organisms can place any seeds or any pollen or anything in it. That's a definite. Keep it covered. Now, after you make your soil, of course, you got to find out what pots and keep them in well-lit sun. The sun varies on your place from certain time to time and during the season. So make sure you know whether a plant needs half sun, half shade during the day, 12 and 12, and if it needs to be sped up to maybe 8 hours of shade, 16 hours of sunlight, will be where you place your nursery during the day. Keep a log and let you know on the growth, the acidity level, and pH balance, you know, of your soil to see if anything has changed, but also to maintain your sunlight and to see the position of where your sun is going to maintain through your season. This is going to be important, especially when you're starting to put your plants in places, because some places of my back gets complete sunlight all day round, certain places, but then as it shifts and changes and goes this way, then certain plants get it later on in the day. You have to vary where you're going to put your plants and how much sun they need, so they won't get overburnt or they won't get wilted from being from not having enough sunlight, and make sure they don't compromise each other. Okay. So guys, anything else we'll talk about later, because I'm going to show you about utilizing vertical plants for your landscape, where you can make your gates even edible and your borders edible. And also these edible plants will help prevent things like certain type of plants or animals to come in within your yard. So, peace, blessings, and love.